Hello, everyone. We are joined here by Zach Simmons, the center for the University of North Texas Mean Green men's basketball team. Zach, you guys just came off a tremendous season. It was so much fun to watch. You averaged about 8.8 points a game, 5 rebounds. So the first question we just want to start off with is, why did you choose UNT?
I was comfortable with the coaches. They it felt like a family. Somewhere that I could, learn and be able to play through mistakes and whatnot. And I figured I was gonna have a chance to play, my freshman year, which is what happened. So, that kind of all factored into, and it's close to home, so it all kind of factored into why I chose UNT.
Okay. All right, Alex, go ahead.
What was the toughest part about choosing UNT?
It was, a little discouraging kind of seeing the season they came off of. Because you knew you were going to have to come in, new coaches too, come into a new system, and it was going to be tough to kind of get it down without anybody coming back that already knew a system. So you didn't have any of your teammates there to help you get through it. It was straight coaching. So just kind of going to be in terms of, right away, the success, which is, it's a lot harder to do. Instead of, you come into a winning program, you already know what it is. You have players there that have been through the system, been with the coaches. They can help you along the way. It was just kind of, we all just were out there thrown into the fire, just getting ready to see what we could do. So it was tough.
Okay, so I've had people ask me, were you part of Tony Benford's recruitment, or were you part of McCaslin's? Because
okay, so it was Tony Benford. David Anwar recruited me, and I had signed early my senior year. And then towards the end of my senior year, getting ready to go into college, I was, the coaching staff got fired. So I was kind of trying to see, some more options, had a good senior year. But then, Coach Mack, Coach Hodge, Coach Miller, Coach Reno, they started recruiting me and, let me know that they wanted me to be here. So, and they were just a good group of guys, so it was easy.
So do you have, a funny story that you can tell us about Coach Mack, whether it be, the first time you met him or something like that?
I remember when he first walked in my door, I looked at him, I was like, this is a basketball coach. He's about 5'10", on a good day. So it was funny. He's sitting there because I'm looking down at him. So it was kind of interesting, but his energy and his go is incredible. It makes up for, the lack of stature, I guess you would say. But I mean, he's such a great guy. But at first, when I first met him, I was kind of like, I don't know.
Was there ever any doubt whenever you went to North Texas that you would stay there?
No. Just being a part of something, you knew it was on the rise. Knew Denton, all of our athletics are doing great. And they just keep getting better. Denton, the city itself is, it's booming, honestly. So many people are starting to really hear about it and want to be there. So just being a part of that is something that's really special with the turnaround of the basketball program especially.
So what do you feel like you've learned from Coach Mack, or really just overall as you're in your game from your freshman year to now?
Basketball-wise, it'd be patience, balance, just kind of, learning to come to two in the paint, not being in a hurry. I feel like I've always had a pretty good feel of the game, but just the smaller details, there's a lot that goes into it that really makes things happen on the court. That they've spent so much time preaching to me. But yeah, really just playing with a lower base. My freshman year I kind of played straight up. So just trying to get lower and just working on things to improve myself. I feel like I've honestly learned more about being a man and a better human being from them more than basketball, which is something that I really wanted to, have coming here, just somebody that's going to take care of me and, like, show me the way. So I feel like they've done a tremendous job both on and off the court.
So I kind of want to shift to talking about this past season. So you had this kid, this JUCO guy named Javion Hamlet come in. So just tell me a little bit about that and being in the locker room with him and just being around him and what that did for the team.
He's a great leader. He really gets his teammates involved on and off the court too. We're always hanging out outside of basketball. He's always, just connecting with people. He's a really good leader by example. He's always in the gym, which encourages everybody else to get in the gym. When your team MVP's always there, you're like, okay, I have no reason not to be in the gym. So just leading by example, just showing people, who he is. He's real vulnerable. He's able to connect with people really well. And yeah, coming in, I was like, he was a top recruited JUCO point guard, so we knew we were getting somebody good, but he exceeded expectations for sure.
What was your favorite game that you played this year?
Oh, favorite game, Western Kentucky at the Super Pit, bringing home the conference championship. That was it. There's nothing like that winning feeling for sure.
So you already answered it before we got on the thing, but who is the toughest player you have played against in your whole career?
It's definitely Obi Toppin. It wasn't just, his scoring, but he was able to get his teammates involved. Passing out of the double was something that game especially I really saw him was like, that's something I need to work on. Because it was you just couldn't guard it. He was finding open shooters. They were making shots, which is why we never were able to take control of that game. He just made it so much, where defenses are focused on him at such a high level that it makes it a lot easier for his teammates. So even though he didn't score, a ton in that game, it was just the way he affected the game and impacted the game that made him so special.
So I want to go back to that Western Kentucky game when you guys won the conference championship. So there's a play that I know the three of us have talked about a lot, and I believe you set a screen and absolutely destroyed Tavion Hollingsworth.
Yeah.
Walk me through that, and I'm sure the guys were hyped up when that happened.
Oh, for sure. So, with our offense and transition especially, those quick drag screens are really important to what we do in terms of our motion and whatnot. So just, I'm coming to set the screen, and I'm coming up, and I know he doesn't see it coming. And, Carson Williams, they're forward, and calling out the screen. So I'm like, I'm trying to get ready to, for the impact. And, he ran straight into it, and yeah, everybody was like, oh, good screen. You have your Western fans, they're getting a little mad like it's a dirty play. But at the same time, it's a basketball play. And it wasn't out of the normal of what we usually do with those quick drags. It was just, it wasn't called out and he wasn't ready for it. And it looked a lot worse than it was, honestly.
Knowing that we lost the first game against Western, what was going into your mindset that was different going into the second game?
The first game, we had the lead. We got into some foul trouble with our forwards. And we hadn't experienced enough to really know how to win at that point in time. But, after that, we go win at Marshall on the road. And we got a 8-game win streak. So we kind of realized what it was to finish games out. And playing on the road is a lot different. But we were going to the last game just thinking like, okay, we have to finish this out. We know we can play with them. There was no intimidation factor. And then we had a hunger to win. We were so close to, make the school history. So we were just like, that's something we want to be a part of.
Okay, so your freshman year, you won the CBI. Then the next year, you kind of fell off. How do you feel like you guys have progressed as a whole squad from your freshman year to now?
So my freshman year, it was tough. You know, new guys, new system. We're kind of getting used to things. There's a lot to learn. But my sophomore year, I mean, we started off really good, obviously. Started pretty good in conference. And, I mean, we had a lot going on. Injuries, you know, just kind of the way things went down, it was hard to deal with. But, you know, it only made us, you know, a little stronger, kind of getting ready, knowing that we have to work harder to get where we want to be. And then this year, even the beginning of this year was tough, you know. Losing record at the beginning of the year, going into conference, we're like, me personally, I'm like, okay, like we got to figure out a way to, you know, turn things around. And guys started stepping up, getting more comfortable playing at this level. And then we had a lot more leadership this year than we had in the past years. And I feel like that really helped us out.
So you just talked about it, how you had a losing record going into conference play. So was there like a moment, like a play, a speech from coach, something that it was at that moment you guys knew that you were going to be great this year and that you were just going to turn it around and end up winning the conference?
It was really that Marshall game right after we lost to Western. You know, it was a tough loss to handle. We were up, I think, 15 or 13 at halftime, so we're feeling good. And to lose that lead and have them go on the run they went on the second half, we knew that wasn't us. And our coaches are great. They always instill in us that we can win any game. After that game, we go to Marshall. You know, that game goes down to the wire. It's a last possession game, really. And we saw that we could, you know, stay together as a team and get it done when it needs to be done. So I feel like that was a real big turning point for us. It gave us some momentum going in. And then, you know, we had that 8-game win streak, and that's when, you know, I felt like we might have thought we couldn't lose. And so just knowing that we could play with anybody. And I mean, we were beating teams pretty well. So I feel like that Marshall game was definitely the turning point.
Knowing that this season didn't end the way that any of us expected, considering that we have such a great recruiting class coming in, what do you guys think is the goal going into next season?
We're honestly with Coach Matt, you know, there are definitely a lot of people that would laugh with us, but we're definitely looking at a national championship. That's what our goal is. We want to be the last team playing. We want to win our last game of the year, and we don't want to play it in a NIT or a CBI tournament. That's what we're shooting for. You know, those are our goals. So we know we can get there. We just proved it this year. You know, conference tournament. You know, that didn't get to play out the way obviously we would want to do too, but we know as a team, especially our core group, we know we can get there, and we know what we're capable of. So, and once you get there, as I say, it's March Madness. You never know what can happen. And like I say, our coaches instilling us. We feel like we can play with anybody and win any game. So that's our goal.
Okay, so I know you talked about this I saw it on Twitter about this kind of relays with all the other questions. The toughness of the schedule last year, how do you feel like that impacted the season? And compared to the years past where it's been a little bit easier?
Oh, yeah. So, and I definitely had multiple conversations with our coaching staff about, you know, how it was going. And I was like, man, you know, we got to get things figured out. But we definitely had a tougher schedule this year than we've ever had. But it was inspirational for us in a sense. You know, we're playing against these top 25 teams, and we're playing them good games, you know, losing at the very end. And that kind of helped us figure out what we needed to finish games out, like in that Western Kentucky game. You know, we were down, it looked bad, but we had guys step up, and, you know, we had leadership and guys being able to make plays in big-time moments. So going through those games and kind of seeing how that went definitely prepared us for what came later in our schedule.
So as you get ready to, you know, look into next year, what personal goals do you have, like you yourself?
Just finding more ways to help the team win. You know, we're losing Dang. He definitely stretched the floor for us a little bit and provided, you know, especially on the defensive end, you know, when I'm out, you know, he comes in at the 5, you know, he stepped up big time, especially in that Western game. So just being able to help our team win, more so on defense than anything, just, you know, being able to keep up with the game, move out there, you know, guard multiple positions the way we want to guard them, and help our offensive flow. I feel like I've done a pretty good job with that so far, but there's just, there's always room to grow. So honestly, the accolades, that's not necessarily something I'm shooting for. If we win, most games in program history, we go to the NCAA tournament, I'm perfectly fine with it.
Was there any doubt in your ability as a team to play whenever, with such a tough schedule, going into conference play with a losing record, even though we had such a tough schedule?
Never. We go our second game. We go play VCU at VCU. Big crowd, great crowd. I think it was a homecoming weekend, and we played them with 3 points. Should have won the game, honestly. So we knew we could play with anybody. We knew we could hang in there, and there was never a moment where we were just like, man, I don't think we could play with anybody. Going into games, Utah State, they were, I think, 15 at the time when we played them in Jamaica. We're in the game like, okay, we're winning this. So just, we're confident what we do. Dayton, we go play them. They're number 10. We go in, think we can win that game. And that's a straight reflection of our coaching staff. They're always believing that we're capable of winning any game we play.
So it feels like after the Jamaica tournament is when you guys started to get together more as a team, and then that 3-game stretch against UTA, OU, and Little Rock. How do you feel like – what do you feel like you guys did to make that happen?
We were angered to a point. We were kind of frustrated with how things were going. And, instead of – and it was strange because instead of, most teams, you get to a point, start getting frustrated with each other, start blaming each other, and things just turn south. We got to having real conversations and, just being around each other more, getting in the gym more. So it was honestly crazy to think about because, it was one of the closest teams I've ever been on in terms of just being there for each other and pushing each other. So just kind of, it was a motivation thing. So it just fueled to the fire that we had to prove ourselves. We get picked bottom half of the conference preseason. And, that was just, we didn't care about it, but it honestly was some added, inspiration and motivation.
So now we don't have I don't think we have the preseason rankings yet, but it's most likely going to be UNT up at the top with just winning the conference and really only losing 3 guys, which I think it's a big thing. Now, of course, those guys were key players, but losing those only 3, a lot of teams, they can lose their starting 5. So is there any added pressure to we got to defend the crown this year, or are you guys, taking this as motivation and, we can do this again?
Oh, yeah. As I say, our goal is to win. That's what drives us. So regardless of where we're picked to begin the season, it's not going to change how we feel about, going out. If we're picked first, then we want to, of course, go and prove ourselves, defend, our championship. But that just, sets us at a point. But we're always thinking about the next game, honestly. Just figuring out how we're going to win it and keep moving on.
Knowing that after that Eastern Michigan game, which was a really tough loss, we really turned it up to another level. What motivated you after that Eastern Michigan game?
Oh, we knew we shouldn't have lost that game. They played well, but it was definitely our defense. They talked about it a lot early on in the year. Was just those last 4-minute stretches of the second half was where we really lost a lot of games early in the preseason for sure. So just you have somebody tell it to you enough times that it really you got to change it, or it kind of it frustrates you to just keep hearing the same thing. And as I say, our leaders, our seniors, Javion, Mo, they were just great and keeping spirits up and just pushing us along.
So I've heard a lot of people say Coach Mack embodies toughness. And you guys took a lot of charges last year. How do you feel like that gives you the advantage compared to your other team?
Taking charges is a big momentum shift. It gets your team going, especially with how we're practicing, how we're coached. that's something we really, get hyped about. And it's a turnover on the other team. You get the ball. It's a personal foul on the offensive player. So it really just it adds a lot to the game, and especially for the energy going in. You could be kind of in a low, energy is kind of down, and somebody takes charge, and boom, it's right back to where it's supposed to be.
So of all the places that you played this year, what would you say was like the toughest one to play because of the fans and stuff?
Dayton for sure. I mean, the crowd was crazy, and it was insane. It was just, and there are some places, you have the crowd kind of, talking to you and to your team, saying certain things, but it's a lot different when, a team can get going on a run and then the place just erupts. And just trying to play through that, you can't really hear each other on defense and on offense, so it makes it so much harder.
What was the game where you guys just seemed to be on a roll and just steamrolled a team? Like, what was the most confident game that you guys had this year?
If we're talking about, for real contest, so I would say more so in conference. UTSA at home was a pretty good win. FAU the game before that or FIU the game, and FAU, both of the Florida teams, we won by a pretty good amount. So it was just, our defense started clicking, and it took a while. So I would say around the time that conference started is when our offense really started to get going, and that just helped us so much because it helped guys with confidence. But yeah, that 3-game stretch that between the FAU, FIU, and UTSA was big for us.
Do you feel like you get the fan support that you guys deserve, throughout the season?
We have some really good fans. We have a lot that are there all the time. I really wish, you always want more. But they do a good job when they're there. They're loud. But our goal for sure, we hope that if we can win, we can get more people out there, and one of these days we're gonna have the pit pack completely, and that's the goal for sure.
So in your eyes, is there like one more step that UNT needs to take in order to establish itself as a basketball school? Because a lot of people view it as a football school, of course, because of Mason Fine and building that program. So what does UNT, in your eyes, need to do to make it to the next level?
Just be more consistent. Consecutive winning seasons. We've had 3 back-to-back winning seasons since I just establishing that credibility, and tournament run would really, I feel like, would really rally a lot of people to be excited about what's to come for UNT.
Knowing that we had that, it was either 8 or 9 game winning streak going into that Rice game, did that change anything for your mentality going into it? Because we probably should have won it.
Oh, we should have for sure. I mean, like I said, there was probably a moment in time where we felt like we couldn't lose. Probably got a little ahead of ourselves, kind of seeing Rice's record when we're going into it. It's an early Saturday game. I think that was the earliest game we played this year. We had played last year, so just getting ready for that. We weren't focused enough to really and locked in to really go in there and handle business the way we should have.
What do you feel like the overall team has to do to grow more and to get better?
Just, work on our games on our own. That's what, the offseason is really made for. We're not together a whole lot, especially with all this is going on right now. So just everybody working on their games, bringing something to the table. Our coaches are going to find, a way to make the pieces fit and, give us an offense and a system that's going to help everybody out to their strengths. But just getting better and knowing that it's a team game. Sometimes, you're going to be down, just being there for them to, pick you up and vice versa. So just being a connected, tough group is what's going to win us games.
So I want to start to shift a little to some more lighthearted questions. So who would you say in your eyes is the funniest guy on the team?
Oh, the funniest guy. That's tough. Abdul was a real goofball. Javion's pretty funny himself though. Like Don't let him fool you. He may seem serious and whatnot, but he's a real funny guy. But man, DJ's up there too though. I'd say it's either between Javion and DJ for sure.
What was the favorite dunk that you had this season? Because you had a lot of them.
The baseline out of bounds against Charlotte. For sure.
What has been your favorite moment in your whole career here at UNT?
Oh, it was winning the conference championship. That was something we've been talking about and worked for since I first came here, and just seeing that pay off was crazy.
Do you have any sort of like game day superstition, like you need to wear this pair of socks, that pair of shoes, anything like that?
I do. I had so especially after my sophomore year, I wore the same pair of Kobe's and the same pair of socks the whole year. And then this year I did the same thing. And I remember we played ODU at home, and I switched it up. And I think I had 8 turnovers that game. It was like the worst game I played this year. So I was like, never again am I doing that. So I might bring them out again next year. We may find a new pair, but that was definitely a superstition for me.
What were the emotions after winning the conference championship?
There were a lot of mixed emotions, between the players that have been here, me, DJ, Maya, Rose, Mo. It was just such a sense of accomplishment because, we've been talking about it, and we've had years where we really thought we could make it happen. Last year, my sophomore year being one of them, we got going and we were like, okay, like this is what we're going to do this year. And whatever happened, and it didn't go well. So just a sense of accomplishment, that you reap what you sow, and just kind of, benefiting from the work you put in was big time. And then the guys that came here, I felt like for them it was, they felt good about choosing UNT and coming here and kind of being able to help us get over that hump. So I feel like as a combined team, it was just such a great feeling.
What is it like to have Coach Ring around the team and on game day, or really just on the road? Because I've seen his Instagram stories, and it's entertaining.
It's a sense of life. He's just living his life, helping people out, and just always bringing, the energy and picking people up. It's great. I mean, it could get a little annoying at times, always, you're eating and there's a camera right by you. Like, oh, man, come on, Ring. But at the same time, wouldn't trade him for anybody else. He's good at what he does, and I appreciate him for it.
Is there a player right now in the NBA that you would say most resembles your game, or that you model your game after him?
Retired a few years ago, Tim Duncan was definitely somebody I looked up to, in terms of, just being fundamental, having a feel for the game, not being, the most athletic person, on the court, but being able to be so impactful on defense and offense. So that's definitely somebody I looked up to growing up, and we had whatnot. So, but I wouldn't necessarily have a person in today's NBA that I'm just sitting there trying to follow behind and kind of model after.
What are you most excited to see coming from the incoming rookies, Mike Kell, all the other guys?
Just, I've kind of talked to some of them and talked to our coaches about them, and it's clear that they want to win. So just seeing their level of competitiveness and, their toughness is going to be great. I know they're going to help us out in plenty of ways this year, but just seeing what they can do from that level and just what they can do to help our team, be more of a close-knit unit and be the toughest team on the floor at all times.
Who do you feel like steps up in a bigger role this year with the people that have already been on the team?
Larry Wise, coming off this injury, that was tough to go through, tough to see. But I do feel like it, it added an extra gear to his motor and his level of competition. And I feel like he's going to come back with a vengeance this year, and it's going to provide great energy and production for us.
So I wanted to stay away from this question, but it's hard to. With everything that went down, the way the season ended, I know for me as a fan, it was heartbreaking because I truly did believe that this team could go into the tournament and win a few games. I definitely knew we would win the conference, but I thought we probably could have won at least the first 2 games in the tournament.
Yeah.
So, like, what went through your mind when that first happened?
It was a little bit of anger and frustration. It's tough because you don't get that opportunity to really prove yourselves on a national stage. You know, people hear about, you know, conference championships every from here and there, but you know, when you see a 12, 13 seed come into a tournament and turn things upside down, then you really make noise and get that attention, and you provide, you know, recruitment and everything for your school. So that would have been big time for us. And I felt like we were definitely capable of doing it. So it was hard. Sad is another emotion that comes to it. You just like, you know, you work your whole life for this. You know, you dream as a little kid of playing in the NCAA tournament, March Madness, being in that bracket, just seeing your name on the bracket. You know, that's something you live for as a basketball player. So not having that come true from something you couldn't control was hard to understand. But knowing that, you know, what's going on and the level of importance makes it a little easier because, you know, hey, you know, these are people's lives and health at stake. So it's a little easier to come to terms with.
This is a little bit of stretch, but knowing that we don't know what's going to be coming this upcoming fall, winter, what do you guys? How would playing in an empty stadium affect the team and everything?
Oh, from us, I don't think it would affect us too much. You know, in practice, we get after it every day. You know, it's straight competition, always going at each other. So, I mean, and that's an empty gym. So we're used to being able to compete at a high level and being held to that standard. So coming into that, I mean, it would definitely have its impact, but it wouldn't stop us from doing what we're supposed to do.
Oh man, oh, I'm thinking on the spot now. Oh shoot, man, I think I'm out of questions. I'm prepared a certain amount.
Yeah,
For you, but it's random. LeBron or MJ, and why?
LeBron.
Oh
That's
my gosh,
my favorite player. That's who I grew up. I know deep down that MJ is the best basketball player to ever play, but just being a LeBron fan, you know, growing up and that's your idol, it's tough to you know, put him under there, you know, throw him under the bus like that. So, and preference wise, I'm taking LeBron, but I do know, you know, who is the best.
Yeah.
I think I'm out of questions too.
I think I got one. What was it like when Hamlet hit the buzzer beater against Louisiana Tech? What was it like after the game, during the moment, and just going on into the rest of the season? 'Cause I know I went crazy.
It was such a special moment. I mean, we're sitting there. Oh man, that was such a big time moment. You know, Archibald comes down. You know, comes off the screen. You know, we're trying to force it down. He comes off middle. You know, he's right at the rim and one. So at that point, we're thinking like, okay, you know, we go over these situations all the time in practice. You know, we're prepared for it, and we're thinking about, you know, what's gonna happen. And I remember I'm going down, we run our play, and I see Javion dribbling, and I'm like, oh my gosh, time's gonna run out. You gotta put a shot up. Like if you watch the film, I'm sitting here like looking like shoot it, and he keeps dribbling. And I'm like, oh man, and he lets it go, and I see, you know, my guy stepped up to go block it, and then all of a sudden it just dropped in, and I was like, it was pure ecstasy in a sense. It was just, you were beyond happy, and it gave us that motivation to keep pushing, because that was, you know, we're getting to a tough part of the conference. I think that was our 5th game in a row, if I believe,
Yeah.
and so it just kept us going, and it gave us some more motivation to, you know, just keep going. You know, it was something that added a little energy and kind of fun to it.
Is there any, now you don't have to answer this, but is there any player that, like, in the conference that you just cannot stand? Like
Hollingsworth.
I was gonna say Tavion Hollingsworth is one of them. You know, he's he's definitely a really good player, and it's respect in that sense. He carries himself a little different. Kind of one of those guys it kind of gets under your skin a little bit in the sense of just how he acts and how he carries himself. But yeah, that's definitely one of the guys that I'm kind of like, I don't know if which is some background story to the screen.
Well, I know the three of us aren't big fans of Kobe Williams from La Tech.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
mainly because of the play where it was a little dirty on Javion.
He shoved him.
Yeah, we didn't like that.
Yeah, you have those plays happen over the season, and it's tough not to get emotions involved when you're playing games, especially when they're crucial games and they're high intensity. So sometimes you give some room for mistakes and in that sense. But La Tech has a lot of guys that don't really rub too well with you.
Bracy.
But I mean that's what it is. Bracy, he's definitely a real confident, arrogant guy, but he definitely plays to back it up. So as does Hollingsworth. So you can't do anything but respect him on the basketball court. But yeah, I mean when you're in tough competition like that between us, La Tech, and Western, it's just there's obviously going to be some times where you get rubbed the wrong way. You're just kind of like, oh, yeah, I don't know if I really like this guy.
All right. Well, does anybody else have any questions?
I don't think so.
I'm good.
All right. Well, thank you for doing this, for one.
Of course.
Also, I just want to say, this was my freshman year at UNT, and I have never been one to have big, school spirit in high school or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But watching you guys play, just gave me so much pride. Like, I'm a UNT student. This is my basketball team. Look what we're doing. So it was so much fun for me as a fan just to sit back and watch you guys, that, 7-win streak that you guys had. It was just so much fun to watch. And I'm so excited and really hoping that we can watch you guys next year, because I believe that we're going to win the conference, and I'm excited to see us in the tourney.
I appreciate that. We do it for the fans. That's definitely where we want UNT to be. Somebody that takes pride in their basketball team, and it just helps us. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I've been a fan for 10 years, and I've never been this excited for a sports at UNT ever. I've never been this excited. I've already bought my season tickets. I've already done everything I can just to watch basketball. I'm so excited.
I miss it, man. It's even watching basketball for us. Even getting to sit there and play. Open runs and whatnot. It's difficult not to be able to have, but I'm excited for it. I can't wait for next year. I feel like we're gonna do a lot of great things.
All right. Well, thank you again for joining us. This was a lot of fun.
Of course.
Wish you the best of luck. I'm excited to watch you play next year, and I think it's going to be a great season.
Thank you very much. Appreciate y'all.